had the marvelous privilege of finding a new species. It doesn't happen too often on my dives, but I was so fortunate to be able to come out after work and find a new species of crab. So I've been diving in this spot for, feels like a little bit over 3 years, and it still amazes me how many times you come out there and just have the curiosity and you start finding something new. We are looking currently at a heart crab. I would try to quiz the watchers to figure out if they can see it right now before I go over and grab it. Heart crabs are, part of the lithoid family. They are the same kind of genus or grouping as the Puget Sound king crab and some of the other box crabs that are around. They're definitely little tanks. And honestly, the way I saw this one, I was just poking around looking for a greenling, and then something stood out to me. And I'm about to show you where it is. They are absolutely glued to anything they touch. Their little feet, tons of little spikies, tons of little grabbers, and they're honestly pretty adorable. The back of them has looks like a heart. This one doesn't look too much like a heart, but I think it just depends species to species, depending on what kind of corals and stuff are around them. They can kind of color themselves in different ways, and all the variants that there is with these types of species. So unfortunately, this little guy falls off here. I help him up, and then we get the show back on the road. You can see, like, they are incredibly well camouflaged. Anywhere they're put, if you don't look for it, don't know what you're looking for, you're probably not going to see them. So this guy ends up seeing that little white thing on the top right of the film, and that's some kind of little some worm or some tube worm or maybe some small sea cucumber, and he ends up picking that thing up and starting to crush it with his claws. So I realized at that point where I think our guy's a little hungry. Haven't really figured out a full name for him, but I mean, at this point, he kind of looks like a Gus, because there's something about him that looks like a Gus. So anyways, Gus picks up that little worm and starts trying to work on it. And at this point, I've already got myself a greenling, and I decided to gut it and try to present him something a little bit tastier to eat. So Gus ends up getting visited by this greenling. You can see how much he cowers. Now he relaxes a little bit after the fish passes, but Gus is definitely he's not a fighter. He's also not a runner. He's a cower. I guess you'd call him a coward, but he's a cute coward. Very well camouflaged too. So I really can't give him too much flack. So Gus is over there trying to crush up that little sea cucumber. He does take me, do a number on it by the time I get to finding it, but I'd end up giving him something better. So that's some greenling guts for him. And Gus is not very quick. Dropped it right on his face. Did not respond. Just cowered. So the second time around, I decided, okay, I'm going to clean up some of this kelp. Cut off some of those strands so that they're not bumble in front of the camera. Do a little redecorating for the shot, and end up giving it over to Gus and really popping it in front of his little mandibles and where his sensory glands are, so get him excited, because I think I've seen Dungeness crab get super excited once they get that put right in their face. And Gus is a crab, and he is no different. Switches from fleeing to feasting in a moment's notice. And he drops the little worm thing that he was working on, because this is a lot better. And first things crabs usually do when they get a good meal is they scoop and scoot, because they don't know if there's somebody else going to come back for that piece of morsel that just got dropped on them. So I end up going to the other side of the rock with Gus, and Gus is just going to start absolutely demolishing. I sped up the video a little bit because he's not the fastest eater nor the fastest mover, but it's awesome to see the way he eats. All those little mandibles and all those little pieces. And I move it back a little bit because I want to make sure it's in focus, and you can see it definitely had a bit of waves going on, but it's beautiful. It's this time of year we have nice sun, great visibility when there's not storms, and there's even Gus around, tearing his pieces of greenling guts. So according to literature, these guys grow up to about maybe the size of your hand, fully extended, and they go from very shallow rocky reefs like this one all the way down to 160 meters, so very deep. Quite a resilient bunch. And I'm sure many people have seen them, but never realized that they were even looking at them before. So as Gus tries to scoot over, I try to remind him that, yeah, he's getting a full meal, but he's got to work for it. He's got to perform. So I nudge him a little bit so he goes back towards the camera. He responds well to being nudged. And we're back to feasting. And then he takes a little trip over to the camera and then works his way back. This is in 5x speed, and you can definitely tell Gus ain't the fastest, maybe not nor the smartest tool in the shed. And again, Gus is making his little exit between those two rocks, and I keep reminding him he still hasn't paid rent. He's got to show us his little mandibles. That's how he's going to pay off his rent here. And so here you can kind of see a little bit of the heart, but the top of his carapace forms a bit of a heart. And they're very sticky. I'm just trying to be gentle, but his legs are just glued on there, so I have to kind of give him a little bit of a shimmy wiggle. And I decide not to even bother. So there's that heart again that we can kind of see. Pretty messy heart, but something that a 3-year-old could probably draw. And I think I freaked out Gus a little bit too much because he switched from feasting to fleeing. But no matter. That can be remedied again through the simple act of applying the crab and then applying the food. Oh, Gus is going to come check out the camera. I don't know what his little brain is thinking when he's looking at this whole contraption, but you can see all his little whiskers and eyes. And so I bring Gus back out, and then I apply the food. Crab plus food equals feast. And after we're done cowering, thankfully he's got all those tiny little spikes that the guts are able to just kind of grab onto and not get flung around on the waves. He ends up realizing the food's right in front of him, and we're back in action. You can see his little face getting excited as he gets the food. I love seeing crabs eat because you can tell the excitement by how their little mandibles in their face is moving. When they move really quick and fast and they start shaking, that's how you know they're excited for their next meal. Give him a little nudge again so I can keep him in the camera shot. And with this, we say goodbye to Gus the Heart Crab. You can see how beautiful he is on the bottom too. Just so intricate. And with that, I leave Gus down there with his snack and allow him to feast in peace. Finally, he's paid his rent, he's paid his dues, and he gets to enjoy the food in peace. And I'll finally leave him alone. hope to find many more of these guys, and I think after spending so much time with Gus here, my eyes are a little bit better trained to be able to spot them in the wild. So to that, Gus, thank you, and to every other heart crab out there, I'm sorry that Gus taught me about you. Farewell, Gus. You have been a little treasure for me this afternoon.